Okay, it's the beginning of the year, early in the season. Masters is about a month away. It's a great time to make sure we're beginning with the end in mind, get our games in good shape for the season. In terms of beginning with the end in mind, great idea to have a look at the 6 components of the R3 approach. The first 3 components of the approach really have to do with our thoughts. This is a good thing. We'll begin to get our thoughts in order in terms of directing those thoughts at the right things in the right way and at the right time. Again, component number 1, those 5 universal laws, need to have a look at those because, you know, those are immutable, they're unchanging, and it's a great way to really begin the process of directing our thoughts at what we're going to be doing. Then component number 2, remember, it's tells us that we will in fact be directing our thoughts and actions from those 4 different perspectives: mechanical stuff, physical stuff, tactical stuff. Those 3 perspectives all track back to that first perspective, and that is that we're raising our mindfulness as a golfer, right? Okay, and then that third component, the blending puzzle, it's a good blueprint for us. Again, remember, we're architects of our own game, so the blending puzzle gives us a really good blueprint in terms of pointing at all the aspects, the various aspects that are going to be involved with our playing process. Whatever skill level we are, we all have these 16 characteristic traits or aspects going on. So this gives us a good blueprint to have a look at in terms of beginning with that end in mind. Then the last 3 components of the R3 approach, more about action. Here we'll be looking at component number 4, the 8 facets of physically working on our golf swing, which we're going to have a look at here in just a minute. But the 8 facets, it's our to-do list in terms of how we're directing our thoughts and actions in terms of the things we're working on when we're working on our golf swing. Then component number 5, that's the 4 different types of practicing. Again, there's more than one way to practice, and if we're genuinely going to improve, then that practice, we need to know that the intent and the purpose of that practice is good. So having a look at component number 5 and understanding that there is in fact, again, it's all about facts and realities when it comes to genuinely improving at the game. Component number 5 just tells us that there is more than one way to practice. So understanding the different types of practicing will help to ensure that we are in fact getting that good intent and purpose to our practice. And then the 6th component, the PPA cycle, preparation, performance, and analysis. That just it tells us that we're going to become better tacticians when we play. When we're involved with this game, we're both player, competitor, teacher, and coach all at the same time. Well, if we're going to be a better coach, then it means we're going to be better tacticians, and that's what the 6th component is all about. So when we do start practicing and playing, we'll kind of use the results that we're getting in order to determine how we're going to practice in order to improve the next time around. Okay, with this in mind, again, let's have a look at those 6 components. And right now, let's go ahead and have a look at component number 4, the 8 facets of physically working on our golf swing. That's what we'll need to do when we get to that practice tee and begin warming up and practicing for the year. Okay, all right, let's do good work now. Okay, let's do some good work and talk about component number 4, the 8 facets of physically working on our golf swing. You know, when we get to that practice tee, got to make sure we're doing good work, you know, good work with good intent and good purpose. Well, this is what component number 4 will do for us. It's a to-do list. Kind of keeps us on point in terms of making sure that we are, in fact, thinking about and working on the right things in the right way and at the right time. Let's begin with the 8th facet and work backwards to number 1. The 8th facet of having a good, effective practice session would be to make sure that we're loosened up. I mean, you know, when we go practice and we've got that time to go hit some balls and practice, we're excited about that. So we tend to go straight to that tee and just start swinging away, really, without getting good and loose. Well, it's a good idea. Make sure we are doing some good stretching exercises. There's plenty of good information out there as far as, you know, good stretching and loosening up exercises that we can do, stretching exercises that we can do in order to get our bodies ready to start making these swings, okay? Then the 7th facet, really, as we're hitting balls, as we're making swings, chipping, putting, full swings, let's make sure that we're maintaining an awareness of the centerness of the hit. You know, if we're going to hit a good solid shot, we need to be finding the center of the face of that golf club. Well, in terms of developing good touch and feel with our golf swings, we have to maintain that awareness for where on the face of the club we are actually hitting the ball. Impact tape's a great way to do this, but even if you don't have impact tape handy, you know, just check out that face of that club and see where it is that you're making contact with that ball. okay? And working backwards again, number 6, we got to know that the quality of any given swing we make, any shot we hit, is going to be completely a function of our rhythm and timing, the sequencing of our body through the swing. In the R3 approach, we talk about the 3 basic component parts of our swing. Component 1 will be the upper swing component, shoulders, arms, wrists, and hands, and then our trunk or our torso, and then our lower body from the hips down. Rhythm and timing is simply the sequencing of those 3 areas. We start with the upper swing component to make the back swing, and then our torso will turn and torque up, and then we'll finally get that full resistance in our lower body. And then the reverse of that is going to be starting from the ground up. Lower body first, then our torso, then our shoulders, arms, wrists, and hands come in here to through the 9 o'clock to 3 o'clock impact zone, make the swing, hit the golf ball. So know that your rhythm and timing is what you're working on in terms of producing quality shots, okay? And then we track back from there and indicate that as we work on our swings, we want to be sensing pivot action in the swing. In other words, on that backswing, we're going to be pivoting into our trailing hip while not making any kind of swaying movement. We'll be pivoting into that trailing hip. In golf, there's an old saying that we play golf from the insides of our feet. So on the backswing, we're going to keep the weight to the inside of our right foot. Going to get good resistance in that right hip. Get to the set point in the swing. Make a second pivot into our lead hip. Okay. So pivot action is something that we want to be aware of. Now, as we're doing feeling those pivots, we know too that we're going to be keeping a good spine angle during the swing. Okay, once we get into that good ready position, we've set our spine. So as we're thinking about those 2 pivots in the swing, we're doing it with a good stable spine. Okay, and that also leads right into the fact that those 2 pivot actions that we have, that's our body release in the golf swing. In other words, when we're making our through swing, we are in fact releasing our bodies during the swing into a fully released position where our trailing side gets fully released in our golf swing. Okay. Now, in terms of squaring that club face during the swing, that's going to be a function of our arm release. Okay. So as we're making swings at the ball, we want to be sensing good arm release taking place through that 9 o'clock to 3 o'clock impact zone. Okay. Very important. And then prior to that, during the as we go from the ready position to the set position, we're sensing the set of that angle. Now remember, the angle is the angle formed between our arms and the shaft of the club. It's our primary source of power in the swing. It creates angular momentum in the swing. So we want to be sensing the set of that angle in the swing. Now also, after we've set that angle in the swing, we're going to be aware of and directing some thought at the swing path. In other words, once we go from the ready position to the set position, we start that swing path, start our go move down into an acceptable and repeating swing path. Okay, and then of course the first thing we do to start with, number 1, is that we're going to be working on and exploring, continuing to work on and explore our ready position. That involves our grip, aim, and setup positions. Have a look at the video about our grip, and it's a very good video in terms of explaining how our grip is going to actually influence club face position. Just briefly, we know that a stronger grip, where our hands are set clockwise on the grip, is going to tend to create a closed club face position, whereas a more neutral or a weaker grip set counterclockwise on the grip is going to tend to create or have the effect of opening the club face as we swing it. So we need to find that best grip that we're going to be making our swings with. And as far as the setup goes, what we're concerned with there, obviously, are going to be our body lines, our feet, knees, hips, shoulders. Where do we have these lines aiming? And then, of course, another part of that whole setup process is going to be our spine angle. To feel a good spine angle, just stand up nice and straight, put our arms out, then we'll bend down to the ball, bending at the hips, slight knee bend, and that gets us into a good ready position in terms of our spine angle being set in such a way that we will then begin pivoting around that spine, right? Okay, these are the 8 facets. These are the things that we should be continuing to remember to direct our thought and action toward when we're out there on the practice tee doing some work. Again, okay. So going back from number 1 up. Firstly, it's grip, aim, and setup. That's our ready position. Okay. Then we're going to feel ourselves set the angle in the swing as we make that first pivot. Set the angle. Then the next one would be taking that angle and dropping it down through an acceptable and repeating swing path. Okay, as we make that downswing into the 9 o'clock to 3 o'clock impact zone. Then as we get into that 9 o'clock to 3 o'clock impact zone, we're going to be feeling some arm release taking place, right? Now as that's happening, we're going to be feeling our pivot action taking place. First pivot, second pivot. Arm release taking place through that 9 o'clock to 3 o'clock impact zone. As we're making these movements, we're feeling that rhythm and timing, the sequencing of our body through. As we're actually hitting shots, we're going to be aware of where we're contacting the ball in the face of the club. Okay. As we're doing this, of course, we're now getting good and loose because we're making these swings. These are the 8 facets. They're the same across the board, really, with whatever swing method it is that you might be exploring, whatever tips you might be picking up from wherever or whomever. These are the things that are the same across the board for all of us, regardless of skill level, regardless of where we are on the competitive ladder in terms of playing the game, whatever age we are. They're the same across the board. So these 8 facets, again, are very good in terms of, again, helping us to direct our thoughts and actions towards the right things in the right way and at the right time. Okay? All right, let's have fun working on our games. Let's get excited about what we're doing. Get some enthusiasm going about it, and then let's go have some fun with this awesome and peculiar game. Okay, so I'll keep doing good work now.